Today, we're going to dive into something that is of great use to entrepreneurs and maybe to those of you who are a little techie as well. Today's topic is all about ChatGPT. Welcome to Get Intentional with Mary. This podcast is for the busy woman who appreciates working hard and also playing hard. This show will focus on lifestyle, entrepreneurship, wellness, amazing interviews, and what every woman needs to live a successful and fulfilled life. Be sure to subscribe, share with friends, and leave a review. Now let's get on with today's topic. When I first heard about ChatGPT, it was a few months ago. As I'm recording this now, it is currently February 6th. It is also the day that my podcast officially launched. I'm recording this as a future episode. I first heard about ChatGPT from somebody that I follow and that I have been following for a long time, and someone who I trust as an entrepreneur and as someone who typically stays on top of all things social media and also new apps and other businesses. Her name is Chalene Johnson. If you don't know who Chalene Johnson is, I highly recommend that you follow her. So Chalene posted on her Instagram account one day where she was saying how there was this new thing called ChatGPT and how it wrote up a few ideas on meal plans for her, and also how it was able to write recipes and organize the recipes in like a table format for the grocery store. So basically, it also gave her an ingredient list. And I thought, okay, yeah, whatever, here's another new thing. But I never really paid too much attention to it until fast forward to a few months later, where I began to see more and more about ChatGPT. And all of a sudden, the people in my circle were talking about it. So I decided to investigate. Well, ChatGPT is basically an artificial intelligence solution that you can use. It was developed by a company called OpenAI. Look them up at openai.com. I'm not going to go into how to download it or how to use it. You can do that yourself. There are plenty of YouTube videos, which is how I learned to use ChatGPT and how to make it work for me and for my business. But the thing too about this tool is that it's creating a lot of uncertainty for people. It's making a lot of people nervous as well, because this artificial intelligence resource has the potential of making certain jobs obsolete. Now, what I like to think is that if you are somebody who knows how to use this resource the right way, it can actually help to enhance your job. But there's a lot of controversy with this, and also how it is that it's going to be used by people in school, for example, and whether or not, if you're somebody who's considered an expert, if your expertise is coming from your knowledge, from your years of experience, or if it's coming from this artificial intelligence resource. Now, let me explain what ChatGPT is. And actually, I asked the platform itself to rephrase who it is and what it is in layman's terms. And this is what it said. ChatGPT is a type of computer program that uses artificial intelligence to write text. The GPT part stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer. This means that the program has been trained on a large amount of text beforehand, so it knows how to write text that makes sense and is easy to understand. The transformer part refers to the way the program is built to process the text. In short, ChatGPT is a powerful tool that can help write text for various purposes, like answering questions, generating social media posts, or writing product descriptions. How do you feel about all this? If you haven't played around with ChatGPT, it's actually quite simple. Like I said earlier, you go to the openai.com website, and there's a link right at the top to try ChatGPT. The cool thing about this, though, is that for content creators like myself or for coaches or other experts, it really helps us to minimize the amount of time that we spend trying to create content. And I'll give you some examples, and then you can decide whether or not this is something that you would like to use for yourself. The way that I use it is on the browser. I go directly to openai.com and I log in with my Google credentials and I ask it something. So if you think about it this way, when you go to Google, you type in your search, and Google is going to give you a list of links where you can go to each link, read whatever the information is there, gather all the information, go back to whatever other link it gave you before, gather some information from there. So think about how long this takes to do your research, to create something that maybe you're going to share later, or maybe you're doing some background research on a topic that maybe you're not too well versed in, or maybe you're just trying to learn something new. Additionally, you can also go to YouTube and research a topic or learn something new, correct? Now, with ChatGPT, what happens is that you go to the website, and what I have learned to do, I should say, is I ask it to behave like a certain person. For example, I can say, behave like a realtor who specializes in selling commercial property in urban areas, and give me 5 tips that potential buyers could use when it comes to looking for property in urban areas. And right away, it will shoot me all the information, and it'll number the information. For example, if I asked it to give me 5 tips or 5 topics, it'll number them 1, 2, 3, so on and so forth. And what happens here is that ChatGPT will remember the conversation, so you don't have to go back and re-reference and retype everything. So I can easily say, give me more information on 1, or can you expand on 1, or can you expand on 3? And by the same token, if I were to give a talk, let's say I'm a realtor and I'm going to go to a networking event, and maybe I'm going to be one of the featured speakers, and maybe this is a topic that I want to focus on, I can ask ChatGPT to give me some talking points on this very topic. In addition to that, it can also give you an introduction. It can give you a description of everything that you need. It can give you a summary, and it can also give you a call to action. So if you think about it, everything is right there as one complete resource. The key here is to understand how to use this resource in a way that works best for you. So you can't just ask it, let's say you're a personal trainer, you can't just ask it to give you some ideas on exercises that your client can do. You have to be super specific, and this is where the expertise in what you do comes in. And this is something that I want to emphasize as well. ChatGPT is not here to replace what you know. It's here to enhance the information that you already have. It's here to provide a shortcut when it comes to helping you think a little bit faster. Because for me, honestly, I could easily spend an hour thinking about different topics and expanding on things and typing it all up myself. Or I could create an audio file, bring it into a transcription service, have the transcription organize my thoughts, and have GPT organize it even better and create an intro, the meat of the talk or the topic, and also a beautiful summary or conclusion. So do you see? It's not necessarily replacing what I know, it's enhancing what I already know. So as a personal trainer, you can ask it to give you a workout program for a female over 45 who has had back surgery. And it's going to give you some ideas on what it is that you can do. It'll give you a workout plan. And if you ask it for a meal plan to go along with this, it will also do that. So what do you think so far? The key here, like I mentioned before, is to have a conversation with it. Yes, you can have a little conversation with it, but be very intentional and very specific of what you're asking. Now, I want to share something with you, something that Gary Vee said recently about ChatGPT. So listen to this short audio clip.
You know, ChatGPT, you look at that and you're like, wait a minute, this is real. People are like, this is bad, this is gonna take away jobs. And I'm like, yeah, but you know, if you know your history, that's what people said about tractors. What happens is when jobs are taken away, new jobs are created. And what I see in copywriting AI is the commodity is being disrupted, but you have to come up with the ideas. Like I have to say, hey, write a blog post about VeeFriends and compare it to wine and say it in the voice of Chris Farley. And then I've got to edit it. So ideas and creativity go to the top. The commodity of the execution goes to the bottom.
Did you catch that? You know, one thing I love about Gary Vee is that he's totally unassuming, right? You look at him and you're like, okay, what does this guy know? But he is such a wealth of knowledge. And he's always at the forefront of technology and trends, things that people are not really talking about yet. And he always puts such a spin on everything. And one thing that I also appreciate about him is how much he gives to his community and how passionate he is about giving advice to the younger generation, to a lot of these kids, a lot of YouTubers. So to me, when I hear him talk about these things, like makes complete sense. He has such a way of putting it because it's true. A lot of people currently are thinking about ChatGPT taking over and taking people's jobs away. But the truth is that if you know your stuff, if you know your topic inside and out, if you know your business, it can be such a valuable asset. The trick, of course, is knowing who it is that you are serving. And that is something that is very important as well. Knowing who you are not for, knowing who you are serving, so that when you decide to use this resource, you will be ahead of the game, my friend. But I also have to caution you here, because if you are not well versed in the topic that you are asking ChatGPT to help you with, you're going to run into some trouble. The time may come where somebody might ask you and you won't know exactly what to say because you relied on ChatGPT to give the information. This is where authenticity comes into play. This is where you have to be super intentional and also truthful in how it is that you are showing up. If you're not already well versed or an expert in your field, I don't suggest using this tool to fill in knowledge that is not already there. And I'll give you a quick example. I run these Intentional Monday lives, and the other day the topic was how to be more self-confident and how to overcome self-doubt or limiting beliefs. So I asked ChatGPT to give me some talking points on that topic, and I believe that it gave me 5 different topics. So that's all I had was a list of 5 topics. And this was great because now I didn't have to think about anything. So all I needed to do was look at the topic, read the topic, and then expand on that myself from the heart, from my own mind, in my own voice. I didn't have to read anything. And as I'm speaking to you now, I'm not reading anything. I am simply expanding on the knowledge that I already have. But it does come in handy in keeping thoughts organized. So if you're a public speaker, if you're a coach, if you're somebody who is always showing up on social media, somebody who loves to share your knowledge, then great. This tool can greatly benefit you because it can help you to keep your thoughts organized. I used to always jump from one topic to another or from one idea to another, and now I can actually keep myself in a mental state where I actually make sense. It makes sense to me, and it hopefully makes sense to you as well. All right, with that being said and that disclaimer out, let's dive into some ideas. You can use ChatGPT to create catchy subject lines for your newsletters. You can use it to create great captions for your social media posts. You can also use it to create talking points, like I said earlier, for either any virtual live events or any master classes that you might be doing. I haven't tried this yet, but I bet it can also give you a nice outline for a TEDx talk on a specific topic. If you're somebody who is well versed in, for example, coding for websites or apps, it can also help you with that. It can analyze content for you as well. So let's say that you're on social media and you are in the same niche as other people who are very well known. You can look at their content and see which reels, for example, had the best reach or the most views or went viral. So you can ask ChatGPT to analyze the 5 titles or the 5 hooks of those reels and to find a common theme there and why it was that those reels went viral. So it can analyze certain data as well. And this is incredibly useful so that you can also position yourself in a similar way if you have a similar target audience. As a podcaster now, this is a tool or an idea that I really, really like. It's to just analyze that data for me and see which topics are the ones that are resonating most with people. And of course, because I'm already very well versed in some of those topics, I can easily give my own spin to everything or just add my secret sauce, right? So that's where the authenticity bit comes in. ChatGPT can also write a press release for you. It can act as your publicist. And this is an example, too, that I can give you because the other day when I wanted to announce the release of this podcast, I asked ChatGPT to write me a press release or an announcement. So this was the prompt that I gave it. I told ChatGPT to act like a publicist for a life coach who specializes in helping women over 40 find balance or harmony between all the things that they do so that they are also able to focus on their self-care. I said that the podcast would be focusing on mindset, on entrepreneurship, on self-care, etc. So I told it exactly who it was for, what it was, and a little bit about myself. And then I said, can you write me an announcement for my email list? And then I asked it to write me a subject line. And then I asked it to write a caption for the Instagram post that I was going to make for this particular announcement. But here's the thing. I had to reread everything. I had to make sure that everything made sense because, of course, it's going to write it in a different tone. And if people are already used to hearing about me in a certain way or reading my posts and they know that, it's me, I'm not somebody who's like super, excitable emojis everywhere. I'm very zen, as you can probably tell by now, if you've been listening to this. So it's important for me to make sure that I come through and I come across as me, even though I have this little bit of assistance. But it's all about the knowledge. So I would say give it a try. If you're somebody who's still on the fence, look at YouTube. There are plenty of videos out there. Another thing that I want to mention as well is that because I collaborate a lot, I have my Intentional Monday with my friend Karen. If you haven't checked out those videos, definitely check them out. We have a bunch of videos sitting on our Instagram pages at Mary Massey Fit on Instagram and at Paris in a Latte. We started this series during pandemic in 2020 as a way to continue to build community and to do something with our friends, So from then we moved on to Facebook and also to LinkedIn. So you can find all of these great videos available to you. So lately, because now I know about ChatGPT, it's not only allowing me to come up with topics of conversation, but it also allows me to, like I said before, to stay organized so that my co-host is also not stressing out. So we just easily bounce off each other. And the same happens with all the LinkedIn audio rooms that I am in that I co-host. So this way we all use this tool to help us to bring the best that we can possibly bring to our audience. The amount of value that we are dropping now is so much better because it's so much more intentional. So I hope that you give this a try, that you look it up, and that you're not afraid to embrace it or at least learn about it, because it's something that I truly believe that it will enhance what you do, that it's an extension of what you already do and who you are. And it's almost like a little bit of a personal assistant, if you will, right? From social media captions to social media strategy to writing a business plan, ChatGPT is something that you need to look into. Now, as I'm recording this, there are some other solutions that are coming. I know that recently Google decided to also bring out their artificial intelligence resource, and it kind of bombed. So I don't know what's going on with that, but I think that it's something to definitely look at in the future and see who the big players are going to be. Just because OpenAI was the first to sort of come out with this doesn't mean that they are going to be the last. So think about technology and how it's constantly evolving and changing. And to me, it's beautiful to see that because we live at an age now where, yes, we have these incredible resources and we have knowledge, but the next generation is going to just blow everything else out of the water. So if you're an early adopter, if you're somebody who's not too afraid of trying new things or, asking for help, then you're going to be in a great place. I promise you. I would love to know what you think about this. I would love to know if you've heard of it or if you are somebody who's maybe looking to try it. I've led master classes already on how to use ChatGPT with very tangible examples, showing the screen and all that, and all of the amazing prompts that go along with it that can help to enhance the dialogue. And this way, it will be of more use to you. So just continue to be intentional with your resources and all the tools that you have at your disposal. That is it for today, my friend. Thank you for being here. See you next time on Get Intentional with Mary.